Kensington Palace has very much been running their own kind of press operation, Buckingham Palace likewise, and that's understandable. You don't have to do what Dad wants you to do when you're in your 40s like Prince William is.
Right, now for what you've all been waiting for. It is 9:53. The Princess of Wales has been spotted in public for the first time since her abdominal surgery in January. The Sun's reporting that Kate was seen at Windsor farm shop with her husband, Prince William, but there aren't any photographs of the princess. Kate Mansey is assistant editor for The Times, who writes about the royals, and joins this Kate to talk about another Kate. Good morning.
There's so many of us.
There's so many of us. What's going on with this story about her at a farm shop? Do we know for sure that she was there, given there are no photos?
Yes, that's right. I don't know why The Sun hasn't published a photograph of that, but perhaps, she was out for a private visit with her family. I think people will take it as a kind of reassuring sign. I think we can trust that she was there. People, who were there at the time spotted her. And it's like anyone, isn't it? We can't expect her to just lie around, in bed all the time. There's going to be a stage where she, takes baby steps to come out and with her family. So I think this is all to be expected, to be honest.
Do we have any clearer idea on what the kind of next big engagement is likely to be? I mean, there's been some talk over the weekend about maybe an Easter walk, about a photograph. I mean, I know it sounds silly talking about when people are next going to see her in public formally, but do we know when that's going to be?
There's been no kind of official confirmation yet. So there's mood music within Kensington Palace to say, when we said Easter, what we really mean is after the Easter holidays, to give her that kind of buffer zone so she can have that kind of family time before coming out. Easter Sunday walk would be a brilliant kind of resurgence, wouldn't it? I think the whole world would go nuts to see her walk into church with the rest of her family. After all the conspiracy sticks chuckling away. But there has been so much kind of conspiracy about it and interest. And, over the weekend, I had so many messages again saying, what's really going on with her from quite sensible people, to be honest.
Why do you think that's happening? I'm really interested in that because my wife, as you know, is one of those sensible people who has just become borderline obsessed with this story. And some people will say, why are people projecting so much on this story? Is it just because it's being badly handled? Is it because people are genuinely concerned? Why has it gone from, Kate Middleton's ill, she'll be back in Easter, to serious comments about the relationship and all sorts of other things about her health? How did it get there?
I think that's a kind of a question for a sociologist, isn't it? Because you remember when Diana died and the reaction to it was kind of bewildering for the royal family, but a lot of other people as well, just sort of baffled by that kind of intense feeling for this one icon of popular culture and of the monarchy. And I think we're seeing that again with Kate, and William's very conscious of that. And I think that's part of his insistence on privacy, and he doesn't want to tread that kind of same old path that we've seen before with Diana. But it is interesting how it's kind of captured that mood both here and across the Atlantic, the American press, media, and further afield.
Do you get accused of covering it up, Kate? Do you get accused of covering up the stories? People say you know there's something going on here, and you're deliberately not writing the true story.
By some sort of strange people online, perhaps. Yes, I think there's always this feeling, isn't there, that because we don't know all the answers, that perhaps there's a big conspiracy. Even so, a sensible person came on to me at the weekend and said, is it correct that there's a pact between the mainstream media and the papers, and you know everything, but you've chosen not to report it? We've abided by the fact that she wants privacy, but there's no kind of agreement behind the scenes. There's no kind of conspiracy of that level, but it does, that is what people are asking. Yeah.
I mean, where do the royal family go from here in terms of trying to reset this relationship with the press and with social media? Because it's evidently causing some distress to the family. The king has been very unwell, has given some information, and people seem to be satisfied with that. But the royals are slimmed down now. There isn't a huge number of them, so there is much more focus on the people who are left. What do you think they can do? Can they do anything to reset that relationship and rebalance it?
Well, I think that's a really good question. And I think the first steps would be to join forces. I mean, because we can see the tension, as a royal correspondent, I can see the tension between the different palaces, between Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace, and more communication there. One message, one voice coming out as a kind of united family, I think would be more helpful. And looking at how they run that message as a kind of one team, because Kensington Palace has very much been running their own kind of press operation, Buckingham Palace likewise, and that's understandable. You know, you don't have to do what Dad wants you to do when you're, you know, in your 40s, like Prince William is. But at the same time, there needs to be, there perhaps, when there's such a small team, there perhaps might be well advised to work a bit more together.
It's that collective responsibility in the cabinet. You have to, the Prime Minister basically dictates the message, and in theory, everybody is supposed to stick with it. I'm not bringing everything back to politics, I'm just saying.
Well, they can be voted out, of course, but
yes,
you know,
we can't vote out the royals. No, you are. That is correct.
But they do need to win. They do need to win the public vote in a way to maintain
credibility
and to stay in favour. So it's not totally dissimilar.
Matt Chorley's joined us in the studio. Have you had a lot of people getting in touch with you to ask if you are covering up the biggest royal story in history?
Yes.
Over the weekend? Yes.
Yeah, people do like to talk about it.
Would you like to confirm that you're not covering up the biggest story? You would like to continue the speculation?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
I may or may not be uncovering it.
In the next 3 hours. Listen for the next 3 hours. Can you imagine if you just did that?
Will Ragg has the answer.
Coming up in the next half hour.
I get home from work and my wife says to me, so what's really going on? It's like, I genuinely don't know. I don't think there is anything going on, but she won't believe it. I blame you, Kate Mansey. Tell us the truth.